Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. We are so excited to dive in. Stephanie, I've got a big question for you, as per usual. Letting go. We're going to talk about letting go today. And letting go can be a really powerful and I will say empowering choice. What is something or what can you let go in your piano practice and playing? And what do you struggle to let go?
Yeah, I love the song. I believe there's a song about letting go
A lot of
that I
them.
have taught and heard a million times. Okay, well, I guess I'll start with what I struggle to let go of. I struggle to let go of feedback that I've received from the past that have now turned into like inner critic voices. And I just see them kind of pop up everywhere, honestly. And it happens when I'm practicing and when I perform. So I think really it's a matter of like letting go of the past, letting go of like things that happened years ago, and that still kind of follow me around. And I think that what I'm really working on is letting go of those things and trying to. I think letting go in and of itself is so abstract to me because it's like, okay, well, I'm ready to not think about that thing anymore. Like, obviously I've moved on, I am progressing in all these awesome ways. Why can't I seem to get rid of that negative feedback loop, right? And honestly, I don't have an answer, but what I know is that listening to old voices rooted in the past is largely unhelpful. And if I can find a way to turn those voices into a positive mantra, into something that is tangible, like a caricature or like a I don't know, even like a yeah, like a cartoon, and then sit the cartoon down and tell it like, hey, you have your right to your own opinion, but like we've moved on from that, and I want to bring you along for like the new journey where I no longer subscribe to the negative feedback loop that you're feeding me, and I want you to evolve with me, right? So kind of like the idea of like personifying the negative voice into something that feels less intimidating, like a cartoon or a caricature, or even just like a baby, right? I think even you were the one that said when somebody pisses you off, imagine that they are a baby. And
Yes, and I think honestly that was either from Brene, it was from someone. It was from Brene Brown or someone else in that same space that I
yeah,
got that from.
yeah, which I thought was really helpful. Whoever said it, it's along the same lines, right? It's like taking those voices and then personifying it into something that you actually can have compassion for, and also that you see is just a human opinion that is, doesn't really carry any more weight than my own. And then saying, hey, like I'm writing a new story and I'm ready to let go of the negative feedback loop, and I want you to move on with me and seeing if that negative chatter can like evolve into positive chatter with me. So instead of me being like, I'm letting go of this horrible thing that's not helping me anymore, instead saying like, I want to evolve you into reality now today with like me as a person that I am. And I think like for instance, one of the negative feedback loops is when I was in college, I had a blackout moment because I like basically had a panic attack when I was trying to accompany this choir director. And what happened basically was like we were learning how to conduct, and the instructor stopped because I like literally I could not keep a beat for the life of me. And it was just because I don't know if you've ever had this when you're like panicking, but everything starts to kind of like cave in, and you're like, you just start like looping around, and like
Yes.
you have no sense of rhythm anymore, and everything's wobbly. Anyway, so he stopped everything. He was like, okay, this is a great learning example. What do you do when your accompanist can't count? And I remember like just being mortified, right? And like this weekend, I'm accompanying one of my students in the solo and ensemble contest, and it's like he made it to state. And one of the biggest things that initially was going to make me not do it was that weird negative feedback loop from that thing I heard in college. And instead of me saying, I have a lot of compassion for that poor person that was having a panic attack, and like, of course I can effing count. Like, I have a master's degree in piano performance. Panic attacks happen, and I am evolved, and I have tools now to help myself get through those things. And I had to evolve that voice into somebody who ultimately helps me be the person I am today, which is breathing through panic and having strategies to calm down anxiety, and realizing that like I have every capability in the world to accompany someone because I can in fact count music, right? And I think that letting go of
I've
those,
seen it. I know it's true. You can.
yeah, of course, but like I think that letting go of that is so hugely powerful, and not just letting go, but saying like I'm transforming that voice into something that I'm now using for my powerful like embodiment, authentic, whatever. I mean, now I'm just making up words, but you know what I mean, right?
I do. Well, yeah,
I
'cause that's sorry to interrupt you, but that's like that perfect combination of like panic, embarrassment, shame, fear, humiliation, like all of those things happening at once. And I think that like when we are feeling those huge emotions, like that stuff like sears into our memory, it sears into our being. Like it can really drive us if we don't realize it for like forever after that point in the future. If you don't, know that it's there and check it.
Yeah, and I'll just like kind of like throw it back at you, but I think just to kind of finalize what I was saying is just like that if I can let go and transform something that used to be what I thought was a negative thing into like something that actually like fuels my fire for self-improvement, and like I now feel like that is a statement of empowerment because it makes me that want to overcome that idea so much more and help other people overcome that so much more. And letting go and then transforming is, I think, what music and just being human is all about. So yeah, that's what would happen if I learned to let go a little more. Okay, so how about you? Letting go actually is a powerful choice. What
Yeah.
can you do to let go in your piano practice playing, and what do you struggle to let go of?
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So I think letting go is a powerful choice. And for me, in my mid 20s, I realized I was a perfectionist. And so now I like to say that I am like a perfectionist in recovery. And I think I will like forever be in recovery of being a perfectionist because I don't think it's something that really goes away. I think once I knew that that's, what drove a lot of my decisions and a lot of what I was trying to do, I learned, or I can continue to learn like where it crops up and where it's the driving force. So for me, I think that's a big thing that I work to let go. And it's easier now when like a voice pops into my head, where a voice will pop in and it's like, that's not good enough. That's easy to recognize because I think I've had a lot of practice with that. And so like in music or just in life, like when I'm practicing or when I'm doing something, I can usually spot the voice, like that old perfectionist voice that comes in. And so I can choose to say like, oh, hey there, how you doing? Thank you, but no thank you. Like I'm moving on from that thought. I think where it becomes trickier for me is checking like when the perfectionist self is like in the driver's seat, like controlling like decisions that I'm making, or when like it sneakily, like weasels its way in and it becomes like the driving factor for behind like projects or behind, like things that I'm trying to do that I'm really excited about. And that's, I think, where it gets a little bit trickier and where I have a harder time letting go because I'm not as aware of it. So I guess that was a really rambly way to say like, I I think I can let go of things I'm aware of and like things that have become more easy to spot. And I think for me, I struggle to let go of things that aren't as easy, that like are disguised or that are like a little bit sneakier. And so I would like to let go of those things more often. And I would like to continue, I guess, to like work to really ask myself why and what is motivating me to do things. In my music and in my piano practice and in everything that I'm doing related to music, which is, everything. And yeah, try to figure that out. And I think that's something like I'm constantly trying to work on because I know it's helpful to let go of things that are not helpful, but if we don't know that those things are there, then we can't, or like we can't put our finger on it. It's harder. I was actually listening to a different podcast and they were saying like, that progress is completely related. Okay, no, I'm going to butcher this. They were saying that like everything that's happening externally, and they were talking about business specifically, but I was like, ooh, could we apply this to piano practice? But things that are happening externally are oftentimes like a pretty direct reflection of what's going on internally. and of that internal work. And I was like, that is so good, because what happens to me when I like am in alignment with my values and like not letting my perfectionist self in the driver's seat is that I feel good about what I'm doing, and I feel more confident, and I feel more at peace, and I like more good feelings. There are more good feelings. And when I am out of that, and when there's like that perfectionist in the driver's seat, then obviously it leads to like crashes and burns. So anyway, I like that, and I've been kind of thinking about that, and maybe that can be helpful with this idea of letting go, of like letting go of the things that don't serve us, because if it's happening in your head, it's going to come up externally, it's going to come up in your music, it's going to come up in your practice.
Yeah, I think that's such a great thing to be aware of. And I love the idea of being a perfectionist in recovery.
Yeah. Well, because it's like, I don't think it ever goes away. Like, I don't think I'm going to reach a point where I'm like, oh, I'm not a perfectionist anymore. The perfectionist in me wants to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I think too, when letting go something, an activity I tried that I think I might actually do again, is writing down the false beliefs or the stories or the voices or whatever it is that you're trying to let go of, and cutting them into little pieces of paper and then planting them in your garden box or in the soil, and the idea with this that I love is that you're taking something that doesn't serve you and you're allowing like the earth to break it down in a really natural way and have like flowers blossom out of like the ruin, if you will. And one of my life coaches recommended that I try that, and I found it hugely helpful because I was able
love
to like
that.
look at these pieces, and you can burn them and turn them into ashes and then plant them, or you can just like take the pieces of paper and then put them in the garden box. But it's sort of like letting that negativity then transform and transmute into something more powerful and beautiful. And I think when we think about letting go, it's also a matter of like letting something new evolve
Yeah,
from whatever negative space it was occupying before, if that makes
totally.
sense.
Yeah,
That's kind of a helpful thing too when we're trying to let go of perfectionism or expectations or old voices, etc.
really anything. Yeah. I
So
love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. That's great. I'm gonna have to try that. And that's a lot. I like the idea of planting it or burning it and then planting it, because that's so much better than just like destructive stuff, like just burning it, right? Or tearing it up or something. Yeah.
yeah, because I
That's
think like
way
yeah,
better.
the idea is that all the negative voices are really just like children who need like love and attention. Like it's not like they're bad people who said these things. That like if you can really frame it, like everybody who's ever said anything negative had the best of intentions. They just
Totally.
didn't have the right nurturing to like see that there's like something bigger than their opinion. You can kind of start to see like it's a lot harder to villainize somebody when you can see that they were trying to come from a helpful place or
Yeah.
an educational place or whatever, but still to let that evolve. So yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to hear what other people have to say about letting go, and I'm curious to hear about like just people's liberation stories and also like the struggle, because that's why we have these conversations. So yeah, if you have enjoyed listening to this, please subscribe to our video and to our podcast. Right, Ashley? Where can they find more
Yeah.
about
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow our podcast. You could also take a screenshot and share it on social media, and that would be hugely helpful, or review it, so that we can get this conversation out to more people. That'd be really great. And
Thanks
we
for
look
all of
forward.
your help, by the way, doing that, because we really want to have this be a conversation bigger than just between the two of us. And
Absolutely.
I'd love if you would share it with other people.
Yes, totally. Thanks so much for spending your time with us. We are grateful for all of you. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.